Sam, thanks for joining us. Friday night, you become 17-0. You're ranked number 1 in the WBO, number 1 in the IBF contender. You've had an amateur career of over 100 fights, which is huge. You've got a rugby league background. And, mate, I can't wait to get into this podcast because anyone that's won 17-0 is special. That's not an easy feat. There's a lot of patience that comes with that. There's a lot of, mental work that you need to do on yourself to get to that point and even go through those 100 amateur careers. So, mate, thanks for joining us. And I'm so glad you won on Friday. Otherwise, you wouldn't be here.
Yeah, no, thanks for having me. Yeah, absolutely right. So, another good win on Friday night, and another step in the direction I want to go. So, look, it was a tricky fighter. A bit of a stinker, to be honest. He didn't really come to fight too much. Old mate from China, but look, he was a tricky customer and someone I had to work out, and he was a different puzzle to probably anyone I've really ever fought. So, but we got through it and we're on to the next, so we'll see what's next in store for me pretty soon.
And he was a southpaw, right? Are they a lot harder? Do you find it hard to get the practice partners necessary to fight someone that's southpaw?
I think that's the biggest part with southpaws is getting, especially over in Australia. We're not a big country anyway, so getting good sparring it is very tough. Like we're at the stage where we're paying sparring partners, flying them over, from other countries or from interstate, and put them up for weeks on end, to pretty much come and give me the best work possible. So, but it is, then again, you go and you need southpaw sparring partners. It gets, it gets harder again. So, the list just gets shorter and shorter. So, for this camp in particular, it was very, very hard to get southpaw sparring. We had to use a lot of the guys in the gym who are top level and give me good work. But so it makes things tricky. But look, I think with experience, and that's something I've had a lot of from a young age, and I've faced many southpaws as an amateur, and I've faced quite a lot as a pro. So I think out of me, especially last year, I think mostly southpaws. So it was something that's not daunting, or I'm not used to at this stage. I just think it opens up a new set of skills that I can actually open up on my opponents. But this one, it was. He did make things tricky, and look, it was almost like I had to put half the toolkit away and just do what was simple and necessary to win.
You said earlier, it wasn't quite the way you wanted it to pan out. What is your corner say in those moments when things aren't going, quite according to plan? What's the conversation like in the corner?
Well, look, we keep everything calm, and it wasn't that it wasn't going to plan. It was going to plan. It was just with minimal, probably, my first time headlining a No Limit show. I was looking to make a statement and all these sorts of things, and I had a guy that I was pretty much chasing around a ring the whole time. So look, it made things where sometimes you just got to dumb things down and do, like I said, all the simple stuff and the basic. You always got to do all the basics right and get your process right. But look, it was I couldn't really add the pizzazz on things, and the finishing the statement, because it was like he almost come to survive, not to win. So it was look, it was a weird one, but like I said, as long as I'm winning, that's all that matters.
In a fight like that, obviously you have to have a huge element of patience throughout a fight like that. Is that something you practice on? Is there sequences that you do throughout the whole year? Because you're 4-0 this year, right? That's a huge, huge achievement. Each camp, how long does each camp go for? Because you would have had to have a lot of patience throughout all these fights to know that if I win these fights, I'm possibly going to be number 1 contender in these federations.
Yeah, look, it's just each camp. This year's pretty much been like one big camp. It's like I've, since pretty much last October, I haven't really stopped at all. So it's you might get a night out after a fight, and that's about it. So that's about as far as a break I've really had since last October, I'd say. So it's been a massive year, but look, as far as patience goes, it's just something I think in the ring I'm very cerebral. I know what I'm doing in there, and I know what I need to do to win. And that's I don't get flustered or don't get caught up in the heat of the moment. I'm very, just focused on what I need to do. I'm not listening to outside noise or crowds or anything. I'm listening for a couple voices in my corner, and I listen to those guys, and that's it. I don't try and get too emotional in the ring and get fired up really, or I know what I need to do to win. There's times where you got to pick the pace up or whatever, but it's not coming from a place of anger or emotion. It's out of it's pure tactics. Pure doing whatever I need to do to win.
Coming through, obviously the ranks. At what age did you start at? Like, did someone see something in you that they knew this guy's got potential, this kid's got potential, or was it something that you had to work hard on?
Oh, it's definitely something. I'm not a natural athlete, to be honest. So like especially as a kid, I was a bit uncoordinated. Everything I had to do, like even learning how to pass a footy, I had to practice ages out the front, just like spiraling on my bad hand, trying to hit a light post. That's how I learned how to spiral on my bad hand, made my other hand better, So stuff like that, it was just I've always had to work at, So and it's been no different with boxing, From a young age, I was never the most talented. I was never the fastest or the strongest. It's just I've stuck at it the longest probably. So since 10 years old, I've boxed, and I've never really took breaks. And even through COVID and all that, I reckon that was one of the biggest growth periods I had. It was just a time for me to really grind and just work hard. And I came out of COVID way better than what I went into it. So it was like stuff like I love the sport, and it's my life. So every day I train multiple times a day. So and there's no off switch. It's just I've only got a short time to do this, and I'm going to do as hard as I possibly can, as long as I possibly can.
Within boxing, I was talking to a mate, this was a few years ago, and he said, most boxers come through obviously a ton of adversity from the streets. They were bullied. They've had some sort of hardship to become a fighter. I've heard Dana White say it many times about UFC fighters. Was there a period in your life where you were bullied or something happened to you where you go, mate, I'm not going to cop this anymore. I've got to start doing a bit of boxing, a bit of martial arts, or what happened?
No, not really. I've always been like knockabout, with the boys, and I've always had good mates, laughing and joking, and take the piss out of each other. But sometimes you could class it as bullying, but we still do that to like these days. But we still haven't grown up. So look, I've always had good mates, good people around me, and I come from a good family, so it's not like I've come from the streets. It's just something I've dedicated my life to, and I haven't gave myself any sort of There's never been a backup plan. There's never been something else I've looked at doing. It's once I started doing this, and once I probably won my first Australian title at 12, I was like, nah, this is what I'm going to do, and nothing else has ever crossed my mind. I remember telling teachers, like, I'm going to be a world champion, and they're like looking at me like this kid's an idiot, or whatever. Yeah, you need to freaking have this or that, Even like I remember my nans and you need plan B. There's never been a plan B. It's always been this or bust, So it's that's been my whole life, and I'm telling them now, I'm knocking on the door of a world title. So the people that were calling me crazy, or said I'm not going to do it, I'm damn close, and they're all probably going, yeah, he's going to do it now.
How long have you had that vision? How long have you held that vision for, where people thought you were crazy?
Oh, since I've been about 12 years old. Like, as soon as I won that first Australian title, it was like, yeah, this is what I'm going to do. Like this is it. So it's it's something I've manifested in since I've been 12 years of age. So look, and I've worked every day. I've worked every day. For this dream, and it's I'm getting close. And once I tick that one off, the goal will be to get, all the belts, it'll be, it won't just be one belt, or, there's a chance I could fight for all of them at one time if the titles all get unified. So look, it's pretty cool knowing I'm close, I'm I'm close to getting the opportunity to do it. I've just got to go and get it done, you know. So hopefully next year's the year where I'm getting me shot.
In every sport, it doesn't matter what you play, whether you're in business, there's people you look up to. Obviously, you said your family's been a big part of your career. Your dad's here right now. How important is having that support and that support network? And who have you looked up to coming through the ranks?
Look, yeah, I have been very lucky. You know, I couldn't have done this without my family supporting it. You know, like supporting me. They've, drove me hours. You know, from when I was a kid. You know, to training. You know, from here to to Sydney or the Central Coast, and they've done that their whole life. You know, so they've sacrificed a lot as well. You know, to get me to where I am. You know, but as far as like role models and stuff like that, it's always just been other boxers really. You know, so like guys like it used to change every week. You know, when I was a kid, 1 week it'd be Mike Tyson, next it'd be Roy Jones, and as I got a little bit older, I've loved Lomachenko quite a lot, and guys like Usyk and stuff like that. I really like the Eastern European style. Dmitry Bivol is another one I like watching now. So I'd say guys like that. Yeah. So.
What draws you to the Eastern Europeans? Is it their demeanour? Is it their work ethic? Is it their underdog mentality? What is it that draws you most to them?
I think a little bit of everything. Their style, their work ethic, and also their persona. They're not overly like I'd say brash or anything, but they're very confident in what they can do and their skills and knowing. They know how to win. They're born winners. So not born winners, but they're just they've trained that into them. They are winners, and but how they go about their fighting and their style is beautiful to watch. It's a beautiful way of boxing.
Obviously, boxing's growing a lot. Obviously, No Limit's been a huge part of that in this country. Putting these big events on. You fought on the undercard of Tim Tszyu. When you're looking at Tim Tszyu, obviously, it seems like it's the type of transition that you're seeing in a lot of boxers. You got Kambosos. Do you feel like the Australian boxing is coming up again? You had once Mundine and Danny Green left. Is it going back in the right direction?
Absolutely. I think it's, and especially seeing guys like Tim, George, Jai Pattaya is another one who's flying the flag at the moment. He's killing it at the moment. So guys like that are world champions and that have already done it. It shows it's possible to do it from Australia, and knows, like, I think it's given everyone else probably a bit of confidence and belief in themselves that they can go overseas, they can win these big fights, and they can get it done. Liam Paro got a big win against an American the other day, so it's about when you go over there, because they're going to try and put it on you. Like, even when you go over there and you're sparring, I told all the boys, we went over this early this year. I'm like, they're going to try.
Where did you go? Where?
We went done a training camp in LA for 8 weeks.
Yeah.
And so we went over there, and I was like, they're going to try you in gyms. They're going to test you. They're going to talk shit. They're going to try and go you. I said that it's just a part of it. You deal with it. You can go back at them or whatever, and they don't like it. So, but it's good. When you see like guys from over here, and you're beating those sort of guys, and you get to it shows that we're on that level. You just got to believe it.
Yeah. So when you were over there, what was some of the things, like, talk me through it? Like, how do they act towards you? What's some of the things that they do over there?
Oh, my first sparring session over there this time, so doing eight rounds with a bloke or whatever. First round, straight away talking shit, like straight away. I was like, it's expected, like I knew it was going to happen. Like at some point, they're just going on. Like, to be honest, I'm not listening to it too much, but then, I started going back at him a bit. My coach like, just why are you talking shit to him? Let's just worry about bashing him. And in the end, we did. And they once it's not going their way as well, they're blowing up. You can see it after like the sparring sessions, on their face or whatever. But I'll give them one thing as well. Over there, they lose a spar. Well, say lose like you win or lose a spar, but you get the better of someone in a spar, they want that one back. They want to go, and I think that's a mentality a lot of people over here have got to learn. It's you know, if you have, you know, tough spars or whatever, you know, a lot of the time over here it's like, oh, it's damaged a bit of ego or whatever, and they don't want to work with Veer again. But you know, the good ones, they want to come back, and they want to go again. They want to get better, you know. Yeah. So they want to keep testing themselves. And you know, there is people that do have that mentality over here, but you know, we need more of it, you know, and know that's good for you. You know, competition is good, you know. And it should be like that in you know, most sessions. You know, it's like going to the gym in the morning. It's like all my training partners. You can't rock up and have a bad day because you feel like shit in the morning. You get up and you try and go to the gym in the morning and you try and dog it. There's 4 or 5 blokes there that are going to make you look like a dog. You know, you just can't do it. You know, so you got to, you know, get yourself ready. You know, turn up with the right attitude, right mentality, and get ready to work.
Because there's going to be days where, like, you're not going to be at your best, but when you step through those doors, you've got to be on, right? Because
100%.
you got your coach there, you got your team there, their expectations are high, right? And a lot of the times what I see is, you know, people want to have the perfect day to perform at their best. It's never going to be perfect all the time, right?
100%, but then it happens in training a lot when you can get sick or whatever, but you still got to turn up and you still got to get it done, and you got to do it as best as you can. Like, because there's going to be times where what if that day happens and it's fight night? Yeah. You know, if you haven't done it in training and you've had it rest that day because you haven't felt good or whatever, then it gets the fight night and you feel like shit. Your brain's going to be all over the place. You know, you're not gonna be able to get yourself up for it, and you're giving yourself a way out already. So you got to be able to get yourself up for those days where you know, you're not feeling so good, because not every day you're gonna be feeling 100%, or you know, like it's just about, you know, you got to rock up, and like I said, there's people there, you know, that, and once you're into it and you're smashing yourself, you know, you're in the groove, you know, you're feeling good because you know, it's all mental, so it's about pushing through it.
I was going to ask you, like, you know, as you get to this next level, obviously, you know, getting to 17-0, some of the matches are a bit easier to get to make up. Once you get to that next level, how much harder is it getting the right opponent?
Look, it's this year's been, the levels definitely went up. You know, the first fight this year, you know, I fought a former world champion from Ireland, you know, TJ Doheny, and another good southpaw, and then the next fight after that was the guy that I actually fought to become number one in the world, Salim, so a tough guy from America. So, you know, and then also another world title challenger, then another ranked opponent. So this year the level definitely has went up, and you know, you feel it, you know, the competition. But like I said, I've worked with a lot of guys, you know, in training and throughout me life that, you know, that are very high level, and you know, that's why I'm able to not just compete but win and win well at this level, because I've done me apprenticeship. I've you know, in the sport, you know, I'm operating at a really high level at the moment. So, but it's not about getting the right opponent at the moment. At the moment, it's about, you know, put me in the best spot to win a world title, and that's all I'm focused on. And at this level, you know, there is no easy opponents. There's no gimme fights. Everyone wants to win. Everyone's, you know, they're all got their eyes.
They're world contenders.
They're all got their eyes set on the top prize as well. So, look, there's no easy fights. There's no gimme fights. It's but it's about preparing your best and being at your best to win these fights.
Yeah. How important is, like, you know, when you get to this next level right now, how important is the discipline and the work ethic? Like, I was talking to a guy, and I was talking about you, and he said one thing that you've got is you don't have anything special. You got this ability to be more consistent than anyone else, to show up, to work on your craft.
Yeah, I think, look, like I said before, I'm not the, you know, I'm physically strong, but I'm not the biggest puncher. I'm not the fastest guy, but I think what I got over a lot of people, I think I'm probably the best thinker in the sport. You know, I'm smart. You know, I'm very, very smart with how I go about my craft, and I am very consistent, you know, with me work, with me training. You know, I'll make sure like every time there's no doubt in my mind I can get through 12 rounds and at a top pace, you know. So there's look, I think, but my boxing brain and yeah, how I can pick a fight apart, and you know, I can take someone's best weapons and, you know, and take it from them and then just impose my way of fighting on them. I think that's probably one of my best attributes, you know. So look, it's yeah, I think I'm very, very good at getting people to fight the way I want them to fight.
Obviously, in boxing, you know, even in combat sport, there's a lot of money, right? Is money one of those things where you go, hey, I want to go to that next level. I need to earn this much money. I've got to go to that, you know, to that top. You know, like you're saying, all these YouTube fighters, influencers, they're becoming great fighters. You see the Paul brothers, they're making, you know, astronomical amounts, 20 million, 10 million, you know, $30 million, you know, per fight. Is that something that motivates you? You know, obviously money becomes a big part of the sport.
Yeah, 100%. Absolutely. If you're not motivated by money, you know, you're probably in the wrong game. You know, and especially it's, you know, it's not a forever thing to do. You can't fight forever. So like, while you're in it, make as much money as you can. And you know, now, you know, you're starting to, you do think a little bit like that way, and you got to try and, you know, milk as much as you can while you're doing it. So, you know, fair play to those sort of guys who are drawing that sort of revenue. That's crazy, you know. So hopefully one day, you know, back end of my career, I can, you know, I'd fight one of them, you know. So,
Yeah.
you know, look, it's yeah, it's 100%. You know, people like the Paul brothers and that, they're smashed it, you know. So fair play to them.
Has that been good for the sport where you're seeing these exhibition fights? Even Mayweather, what's he like, in his 50s now? Or his late 40s, and he's still having these massive exhibition
I'm not
fights?
so sure about the exhibition fights. I think you're taking the mickey a bit with the exhibition fights, and like, I couldn't really care about Mayweather doing an exhibition or whatever. You know what it's going to be. He's just looking to grab a heap of cash, and like, I don't see nothing wrong with it. Like, if people are going to pay to watch it, they're going to pay to watch it. Like, good on him. But I've got no interest in the exhibition fights or whatever they're doing. But like, I don't mind seeing like it's an actual fight, and you know, Jake Paul's fighting, you know, Tyron Woodley or whatever. Like, 100%, I'll watch those. It's an actual fight too. There's going to be a winner. There's going to be a loser. But you know, that's what we watch the sport for. You know, but as far as an exhibition or whatever, like, I don't really.
Yeah.
I think they're pointless a bit. You know, like, what if you're going to do it? You know, come back and fight.
Is like, I mean, with those fights, I mean, a lot of people were saying, you know, it was fixed. The fights were fixed. I mean, that to me it looked like a real punch.
Yeah.
You know, is there a lot of that in boxing? You know, does that happen? Because they look like real punch. I don't know.
Yeah,
what they look like to you?
100%. I think you always see comments about fixed fights and that. Look, and obviously, I think boxing's just got that reputation from, you know, it was run from the mafia and stuff, like way back in the day, and no doubt, like, just it started on dodgy grounds, you know, like. But I think I'm highly doubt, like, especially those fights. Those fights are legit, you know. But like, I highly doubt that a lot of people are, you know, sort of. I think it'd come out if there was a lot of fixing or match fixing going on, you know. So, yeah, I doubt that there is really any going on, or, you know, and even like with how betting's tracked now, because that's what all match fixing is for. It's this person's got to, you know, would have to throw a fight or throw a match, you know, to, you know, someone's going to have a bet on somewhere or whatever, you know, like, there's going to be, you know, people see like all these betting agencies and that now, they see where the money's gone. It's not like you're just going to a bookie and destroying a bookie, you know. You know, so it's I think how everything's tracked these days, it'd be pretty hard to match fix and to do all that sort of stuff and make a good chunk of money out of it, you know. So especially for those guys, like, if they're making 10, 20 million, why are they match fixing? Like, you know, or why is, you know.
I agree.
You know,
I agree.
so
I mean, look, to me, it looked like they were proper knockouts.
Exactly right.
You know what I mean?
So 100%, those fights are all legit. I think anyone that's probably some idiot on Facebook or Instagram, you know, commenting saying, "Oh, the fixed fight" or whatever, like, you can't listen to half those people. Most of them, you know. So you can't read comments and you can't friggin' get involved in all that sort of stuff, because it's just people's opinions, you know. Like there's no facts behind it or whatever until you start seeing bulk articles about match fixing or whatever. Then I wouldn't really believe it.
Do you cop a lot of flack on social media? I mean, you don't seem like that type of person where people would come after you. Obviously, your school teachers and all that didn't believe in you. Besides them, do you get much of that now, or do you get more support from the fans?
I'd say mostly support, definitely, but like it's like anything, you know. You put yourself out there, you know. It's you're gonna get people that give you flack, and but look, I've never listened to people telling me how good I'm going, and I'd never listen to people tell me how bad I'm going. You know, I've got a small circle that, you know, I care about their opinion and what they think of me, and they're the only ones that really matter. So besides that, you know, like I don't read too much that's going on, or even, you know, stuff I say, or like, you know, I don't read any of it back or go through comments and see what people think of this or that. You know, it's just, you know, like I said, you can't listen to people telling you you're going great, and you can't listen to people, you know, telling you you're no good or whatever, because you just get in your own head way too much. You know, you either think you're too good, or you think you're not good enough. So I just listen. I know myself. I know how I feel about things, and I know what's right and what's wrong, and you know, I go off what my team tell me.
Yeah,
pretty simple.
How long have you been with No Limit?
2 years now, I think. 2 years. Yeah.
How's that been? I mean, the Rose Brothers have been doing a fantastic job. I mean, they've been, you know, really pushing boxing in this country. What's that relationship been like?
Yeah, no, they're great, and they're great to work with. So, look, it's been awesome. You know, it's everything they've really said they were going to do, they've done. You know, besides taking me to Wollongong, we've got to get that done. So, but there's plans to do it, and we definitely will do it. So, look, but yeah, like they've put me in a position now where they've got me mandatory for the IBF. I'm number 1 now with the WBO as well. So, look, they've put me in a really, really good spot. They've got me the right fights. They've backed me 100%. You know, so, you know, that's the other thing people don't see. It costs a lot of money to bring these sort of fights out here, and to get guys from America, you know, from Ireland, you know, stuff like that, to get them out here, and, you know, to, you know, people that are ranked with the Ring magazine, you know, so they're demanding good money, and you know, they've backed me to the hills, and, you know, I've got it done, and now we're knocking on the door of a world title. So, but that's, you know, they've been a big part of the journey and getting me to where I'm at right now.
Because, like, obviously in boxing, the things that slow down fights are management, you know, event companies like No Limit, but also broadcasting rights, right?
Yeah.
You have to marry the whole thing up. Before No Limit, was it a lot harder to get these right fights in the right places? Like, you want to go to Wollongong, like to create these fights in the right places, I'd imagine it'd be very difficult.
Oh, absolutely. You know, at some point, you do need either a lot of money behind you, or you need someone to, like a promoter, to back you up, because it's an expensive sport. Everyone wants to get paid, you know, and like coming out of COVID, like that was a time, you know, I was probably 7-0 or whatever coming out of COVID, not world ranked or anything. So it was that, and pretty much it was restricted to really only domestic opponents, and it was almost impossible for me to get a match. You know, we were offering people like, and this was my own coaches paying for this. Like we paid a guy. I had to go up 3 weight divisions, and we had to pay a guy out of our own pocket to you know, to get me a fight. You know, wow. And that was after getting knockbacks after knockbacks. So there was plenty of guys that, you know, we offered them, you know, this much to show, but then we'll give you an extra like 15 grand or whatever if you can beat me, you know, and they were knocking it back, you know. Wow. So like, it was just people not backing themselves to, and this was paid out of our own pockets, you know, like this was you know, just like the confidence my team had in me to get it done. And, you know, no one was really confident enough to take those sort of deals. And yeah, it was extremely tough coming out of COVID, and it was getting to a point where we had to sign with a promoter, and yeah, I ended up getting 2 fights, which, you know, my coaches had to chip in for, and we ended up signing with No Limit at the end of that year, and yeah, it was the best thing that probably happened. So they backed me, got me all the right opponents, got me my regional titles, and yeah, that started progressing me into the rankings and got me to number 1 in the world.
How does it work with No Limit? Do they find you? Do you find them? How does the negotiations work? Do you have to have value for them to see that they can bring the big fights, get as many people watching, have eyeballs on the fight? Or how does it work?
Yeah, look, I know sort of they did make contact about signing me, and then got in touch with my manager, and he pretty much sorted it from there. But look, they, like I said, they back a few of us. Like they've I think they've signed a few people to a certain, like, to a couple fight deal or 3 fight deals and stuff, but they've signed a few boxes for multi-year deals, and I'm one of those boxes that they've decided they're going to invest in, they're going to back, and they want a part of their long-term plan, and it's been great so far, since it's just that extra bit. You're going to get the right opponents, you're going to get the good fights, and they're going to back you to the hills. So it's it's been great, and it's been awesome to be a part of these these big cards. And like I said, I got to be co-main event for the 3 of Tim Zoo's shows this year, which is went back to America, and got me on in front of the American audience and stuff. So and there's been a lot of exposure, and that's what you do it for. You gotta put yourself out there, got to get your name out there, and in this country, No Limit's the place to be if you want to do that.
Do they also advise you on, hey Sam, we need you to be like this, we need you to get more eyeballs watching you? Do they give you advice on your personality, or what they want you to improve on, or coach you with, in order to make these bigger fights happen?
Oh, look, they'd probably like you to go out and talk shit every fight and try and be Conor McGregor, to be honest. But everyone would love that. But look, I'm not Conor McGregor. I'm not going to go out and just keep talking shit, and be someone who I'm not. Like, but also, like, you can't just go out. I find as well, you can't go out there and talk shit to someone who, like the last fight, bloke didn't speak English,
Yeah, that's right.
Going to go out there and say a bunch of things. The bloke's going to come up and shake your hand and freaking you look like a dick. So it's a balancing act. I am who I am. I'm not going to change that in front of a camera, and I'm not going to change my character just to get more views or whatever. I'll just back myself to do what I need to do in the ring, and outside it. If people like me, great. Keep watching. If you don't, hopefully you still watch, but but it doesn't doesn't really affect me, So
you'd rather people watch you to see you get knocked out and then become fans, right?
But I don't really care if they want to see me get knocked out, or if they want to see me win, great. But look, it's if they are watching, that's really all that matters. So,
you don't seem like the type of guy people would hate that much, though.
Not everyone's going to like you, you get a few messages every now and then, but look, I just have a laugh at them, to be honest. Like, I find them, some of them, if you can be a bit creative with it, not just like come at you with a bunch of insults, friggin' good on you. I'll have a laugh at it. But look, like I said, to be honest, as far as comments and stuff, but I don't really. Yeah. I'm not scrolling through comments and checking what people have got to say. Like half the time, if there's a good one, like me mates will probably send it to me or whatever, and that and post it in a group chat, and they'll probably take the piss out of me. But that's about as much freedom as I do. Yeah.
Obviously, like George Campos has done a fair bit in boxing in this country. He loses 2 fights to Devin Haney. You don't hear much of him, so. And the question I wanted to ask you is, how important is it to build momentum and stay up there? Because it's when you get to the top, how hard is it? It becomes a lot harder, right? Like right now with George, he can't get the fights that he wants because people don't see the value in him anymore. You know what I mean? Like as opposed to when he won the title and then everyone was after him. Everyone wanted that title. And that's why I ask, because when you look at the UFC, you can lose fights, you still get matched up, right? In boxing, there'd have to be more pressure, right? because like for people to notice you now, you've got to be 17-0.
Yeah.
If you were 17-2, you're not going to get.
Yeah, it makes it a lot harder. It's probably not that you're not going to get a fight. You're probably not going to get the fight you want. Or it looks like George is going to get a big fight though, because all the belts are going to be vacated by Devin Haney now. So he's gone up to light welterweight. So all the belts are going to become vacant. It looks like he could fight Lomachenko, which would be a massive fight for him. So hopefully that does happen. But look, it's before that, while Devin probably had all the belts, he's probably looking at fighting guys that probably want to use him as a bit of a name and beat hopefully beat him, and they've got George Kambosos on their resume, but there's no real value in him probably fighting those guys who are coming up. It's not putting him any closer to winning the world title. So look, you can see the frustration in it probably for him, and getting the right fights for him. But look, he's in a good spot now. I think he's mandatory for the IBF belt. So look, he'll get a crack at that, and he could be world champion again if he if he gets it done. So, but momentum is it's massive. You got to be even in the UFC. You do get a shot a bit. You can lose a couple fights, but then you go on a run and you win 3 fights. People probably forget a bit, quicker, So it's it is weird how it works, but I think the boxing crowd, even you have a bad performance or whatever, like you're only as good as your last fight. So, people are very quick to forget and remember what you've done or what you haven't done, and they'll just go off recency bias, really. So, it's something. It's just a very fickle industry, the old boxing game. Everyone's got an opinion, and so it's but yeah, people are so quick to write people off. You're overrated if you've had a bad performance, or you win one fight and you're the biggest thing in the world, or it changes like that all the time. So like I said, you can't listen to too much of it, and you just worry about keep winning, and like I said, building that momentum.
Really, it's unlike any other sport. Think about it. Like if you played tennis and you lost 10 matches that year, you could still be ranked number 1. If you look at team sports, you could have a bad season, but you're still in first grade.
Yeah.
But in boxing, you lose a fight, it's like you've lost back-to-back seasons.
Yeah, like you lose a fight and it's like you're starting over again. You got to build them back, and
it's unlike any other sport.
Yeah, absolutely.
Honestly.
Yeah, 100%. So it is crucial, and I think a bit of that effect has obviously been like everyone wants to keep a 0, but like once you're up there and you're fighting the best of the best, like on any given day, these guys can beat anyone. So it's. And you got to rock up and be at your best. Otherwise, if you're that much off, you're not going to win the fight. So at that level, and it's crazy. It's how one loss, or 2 losses, and you're just completely written off. So it's like I said, people are really quick to forget. Someone might have 1 or 2 losses and. They forget how good you are, So it's like, and some of these are fights, like people are losing by, razor thin margins, or close as decisions, and then, you're no good, It's like, man, it's crazy, So people, like, you look at the, like, pound for pound lists and stuff like that, like guys like Lomachenko, like, he lost. I thought he beat Devin Haney in his last fight.
I did too.
And
I honestly thought 100% he had the fight.
I'm biased. I love Loma, but I thought 100% beat Haney, and then doesn't get the call, and then that's what the history books show. People are that quick to just write him off and go, forget him. He's the Haney beat him. Friggin', he's lost 3 fights now. Forget him. He's not as good as what everyone was saying. It's like, it's crazy.
Yeah.
So but
it's really
people
a cruel
quick
sport.
to forget.
Yeah, it's a cruel sport in that sense, and it makes me think, how these athletes, what kind of teams do they need? Because you lose a fight, it's like you've lost 10, right?
Yeah.
It's not like if you compare it to a sport, it's like you've lost 10 games or 20 games in a season. And that's why I asked the question, like, you guys would have to have a completely different mentality, and to put more pressure on top of that. Like, when people get into boxing, a lot of people would say to them, mate, it's a tough sport. I don't even know why you're doing it. And I get it sometimes while the teachers say that. So it's probably one of those sports, probably the toughest to actually make it in, just because of the noise and the adversity that people have to even go through. Losing one fight, it's like you lost your whole career.
Yeah, 100%. And it's like I said, but you can't listen to those sort of opinions or those sort of voices. It's because you're gonna have to pick yourself back up, dust yourself off, and go again. And you can do that, and you go on a tear after that. People, next thing they'll be blowing smoke up your ass again. So look, it's something that it's just all outside noise, but it is something that. It is a harsh sport. It is a cruel sport, but there's got to be a winner. There's got to be a loser. It's just the reality of the sport. So it's it is a lovely sport, but it's not lovely what we do.
Yeah, 100%. I think that's why he deserve a lot of money. Before fights, you hear Mike Tyson say, when he went out there to fight his opponents, it's like he wanted to eat their babies, or he's like felt like a monster. He wanted to kill them. What's your mentality like when you're going out there? Is it the same? Because I used to play rugby league. You played rugby league yourself. You're going out there to kill the opponent. You're almost going out there to break bones. Like, you're literally that's the mindset you're going out there with. What's the type of mindset that you go out with into the ring?
There is a bit of that like element to it where it's like you're going to war. Like we say a prayer before we go out to fight. No, I'm not religious by no means, but it feels like you're going out there, with your shield and sword, and you're not coming back. Like it feels like that. It's something about it where you're forgetting, you're going into the arena. It's a feeling like no other, but it's the most addictive feeling in the world. So and there's nothing from my first fight to my last one. There's nothing like winning a fight as well. It's just there's something about being able to go in there and take everything from them. So it's the most addictive thing in the world. It's the biggest drug you can get. It's like nothing you've ever experienced. It's just madness. It's so mad what we do, but I can't even describe it. Like it's nuts.
It's funny you say that, because you see a lot of boxers wanting to get back in that arena after their careers are over. It's that. That's what they're missing, right?
Nothing compares to it. I can't see how you go and do much else in and it's hard. Like, the training camps are brutal, and by the end of it, you're fucked. Like, you wrecked. You've been just destroying yourself for months on end, and training camp's tough. It's brutal, but like you get through the fight and you've won the fight, and then you're like, fuck, I want to do it again. Like there's nothing like it. It's just the feeling is just, you can see why people have, you always think you want to go out on top and that, but then you see how people go, they get the itch and they want to come back, have a crack or whatever. And then especially, with a lot of the older guys, they've also got to do it for money as well. They've, lived like kings, and that lifestyle outside of boxing as well. They've got to fund that. So it's, there's just way more upside in to keep on fighting, so you got to be careful of that and know when it is time to probably hang them up. But look, I'm 25, so I'm not even thinking of any of that sort of stuff at the moment. I'm just focused on, ticking off my goals one at a time.
Because you do hear a lot about boxers where they lose everything.
Yeah.
Do you have kind of business mentors that are helping you through this next phase and this next process to make sure you make the right investments? Because, I've seen a couple of your videos where you're jumping up and down, you're going in that ring. It's like you can, how you're explaining to me, you can feel that adrenaline, you can feel that energy. And a lot of sports players, lose a bigger percentage lose all their money, right? Is that something that you've been thinking about, or something your parents or your dad have told you? Oh, hey, listen, if you make money here, you're gonna have to invest this, because this career is not long. And you see some boxers obviously get into the media, so that there's life after boxing.
Yeah.
Do you think about those things? Because I know in my 20s, I'm 47 now. I know in my 20s, I thought, fuck, I got so many more years to go.
Yeah.
But then you get to a certain age, you go, hey, wait a second, have I thought about all these different things that are necessary for me to live this type of life beyond, my career or anything like that? Has that come into your mind?
Yeah, look, I've got good people around me who are steering me in the right directions in terms of like investing me money into this, and there's a few little business ventures, that we're looking at as well. So hopefully next 18 months, we start ticking a few of those off and get those up and running. But look, another thing as well, I've worked my life, doing this, and look, I'm no good on a shovel or doing anything else.
Yeah.
So it's like I said, it's this or bust. I'm not doing anything else after this. I'll have a few little business ventures or whatever I want to do after this. But like, you're not going to see me on a job site or a shovel after this. So look, I'll be pretty smart with my money, and I'm not going to be trying to piss it all up the wall.
Yeah. As you go into this next phase, especially this next year, one of your goals is to get the world title around your waist there. What does the new year look like, and what have you learnt from 2023 that you're going to bring into 2024?
Look, I think what I've learnt is, I wouldn't even say what I've learnt. I've really just confirmed where I'm at in terms of, I know my ability and I know how far I can take it. The confidence I've got out of 2023 that I'm taking into 2024 is massive, And that probably came from the start of the year, going over to America and then coming back after, just going, yeah, look, I'm going to do this, So I'm taking a whole lot of confidence out of this year, knowing that, I beat two guys ranked with the Ring magazine, who's like, that if you're going off rankings, that's the one to go off. So I beat two guys ranked in the top 10 out of there, another guy ranked in the top 15, another, world title challenger who, just had a couple draws with a Hall of Famer. So, I've stacked, really good wins this year. I've had a massive year. I've been super active. It's most I've grown as a boxer probably within a year's period. So look, I'm taking all that experience and all that confidence into next year, and that's gonna put me in the best position possible to not just compete for a world title, but to capture it.
One thing I look at with great athletes, guys that are going to that next level, your team. Have you kept the same people in your corner, or have you changed your corner, or you brought in new strength and conditioning coaches, nutritionists, all that kind of stuff? How's that evolved, from the start of your career to where you are now? And are you looking at, creating the edge in more different areas in your craft?
Look, I've worked with these guys since I've been about 12 years old. So like my boxing coach, Joel Keegan, my team from Complete Boxing, Luke Phipps, and all those guys, I've known them since I was 12 years of age, but they were in the Central Coast. I was based down in, Wollongong, so it, just logistics, it didn't really work out for training full time. So I started out my pro career out of Sutherland and trained with a guy up there. So I was with him for many, many years, and then I just knew I had to make the full-time move to Complete Boxing up in West Gosford, and I'd done that probably about four years ago now, I think, maybe 5 years. So look, so I've done that. I've been up there for a long time now. I've got a nutritionist that I have worked with since the start of my pro career, and he's gave me the process and the blueprint to make weight correctly each time, and it's still working for me now, and just little tweaks here and there that we have to do, and to get me on weight, but it's that's never been a real drama. And me boxing coach, he's also got a S&C background, so he manages all that, and look, it shows in the ring. I'm always I'm the fittest guy in there. Yeah. So look, what we're doing at the moment's working. So at the moment, if it ain't broke, don't need to really fix it. Just keep growing and keep getting better. And like I said, adding a few things here and there that we pick up along the way. But look, at the moment we've got a good process and a good a good system in place.
You go for St George, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you live in Albion Park, or you said West Gosford?
Yeah.
You
so
train in West Gosford?
Yeah. So at the moment, I'm pretty much living up there full time.
In West Gosford.
Yeah, I'll go back and see the family when I can.
Yeah.
Maybe on a weekend or whatever. Then I'll drive back home to. So there's a little bit of travel, But look, at the moment, my life's pretty much based up in the Central Coast. So that's a move I've made for a good while now, and it's working. The areas are very, very, very similar. So it reminds me a lot of it's a little bit of a smaller version of home. I feel like so. Look, I'm comfortable. I won't say comfortable. Don't like that word too much, but look, it's a good living up there. So I enjoy it.
You're a big Dragons fan as well. So obviously before rugby league, before boxing, rugby league was your first love. I looked on your Instagram page. You had the new coaching staff over there, and cricket. Right?
Yeah.
A bit of cricket.
Yeah, I love me cricket.
Were you watching it simultaneously on Friday night?
Yeah, not simultaneously, but that was a bit of a G up, I think. In the change rooms, they didn't have the cricket on; they had the boxing on. So I was just watching. I was watching it all day, but the test match. So we're actually, me and a few of my mates are going to we've got a little holiday booked, so we're going to the Boxing Day test in Melbourne. So yeah, be keen to go watch that.
Yeah. And outside of boxing, obviously, besides rugby league and cricket, what else do you do to switch off, or is there no switch off with you?
Look, it's pretty much me life is boxing. I'm always around. We're knocking around with the boys from the gym, or when I get home, I like to play a bit of poker with my mates or whatever, or go out with my old boy for a motorbike ride or whatever. I've got a motorbike and stuff, so. Got a few little things that I don't mind doing, but look, it's mostly it's just eat, sleep, boxing. That's how it's got to be. It's don't have a whole lot of time for other things because after you have finished your training or whatever, you're just fucked. You got to rest. You get rest in, get your recovery in. So it's it takes a lot from you, but it gives you the most back as well. So. It's it's pretty much just all in with boxing, and when I can fit in a bit in between, great. But this year it's just been, there hasn't been an off switch really at all.
Four wins,
four fights in a year, it takes a lot, and I've agreed to other fights in between those fights as well, so where the fights end up getting pushed back or. So camps got extended, so you've been in camp for like extended periods of time. So, look, it's been like one big camp, for like a year. And like I said, like nights out and stuff like that, they just don't really happen or whatever, So, you get a night out after your fight or whatever, and you get to have a drink with the boys, and that's all well and good. But then, then it's you're back in there. You got another fight to win in 12 weeks or whatever. So, look, this year's been just flat stick, it's been tough going.
And I know we've touched on it as my final question. Is it getting that world title your main focus, and you're going to do everything absolutely possible to get there? Is that like that ultimate goal? And then obviously the other goal being, moving up divisions and fighting there and getting titles there.
Yeah, well, 100%. Like I said, it's the next goal. 100%. It'll. It's the next big goal that I want to get is I want to get a world title. So, look, I'll do whatever I have to do to get one. But I don't want to say the ultimate goal, and because once you get the world title, then you got stuff to do after that. There's, you got to defend it. You got to get if you have to get the rest of them. Or if you don't win them all at once, you got to go capture the rest of the belt. So, look, there's other goals after that. So I'm not going to say it's the ultimate goal, but it is the big one. It's the one the one you dream about from when you're a kid. So, look, it's something I've dreamt about for a long time, and I'm getting closer, but there's still a lot of work to do before I get there, you know. So there could be another fight in between that fight or whatever. So look, I'm not looking too far ahead. Focus on day at a time. Keep getting through things and doing what I need to do in terms of training and yeah. So hopefully No Limit can get back to us soon and let us know what the next plan is and where we're heading. So and then we'll just start getting ready and get ready to go again. So, but next year, you know, I'll be fighting for a world title and I'll be looking, you know, to win it, obviously.
One more question. What do you say to those young kids out there that are going into the boxing gym for the first time, that want to make a career of it? What kind of advice would you give those people that are coming into that gym for the first time?
You don't get disheartened. Turn up every day. You know, so it's about stacking those little victories and turning up every day. I think is probably the most overlooked one. I always got told, you know, every 6 months, you know, someone will, you know, quit or not just quit, might just be take a break from the sport. And every 6 months of my life, you know, someone, especially when you're a kid, and I look back and look at half the people I used to box with and that used to think you were good when you were 14 or 15 and think they were killers or whatever, and you look back now and you're like, they're all quit, they're all gone, or they've taken a break and then they've tried to come back, and then, you know, people are caught up and people have, you know, kept at it. It just gets tougher and tougher for them. So what happens again? They take a longer break, they try to come back again. It just happens on this cycle. So it's just important that you stay consistent, you turn up every day, you work hard, and yeah, you don't get disheartened by things. You know, you're gonna have days where, you know, like you fight better people or whatever, especially when you're starting out early on. Like I remember trips to England and stuff, and my first time I went to England, I felt like I just got my ass kicked, and you know, I was like in my own head, you know, just getting this up. But you stay at it. Next time I went to England, I was kicking everyone else's ass. So
Wow.
you know, stuff like that. You know, you can't let it get to you. You got to keep rocking up, keep doing the work, and you know, good things happen.
Man, Sam, I just want to thank you for coming. I'm going to be watching your career closely. 17-0. I want the best for you. You know, I hope you go get those titles because you're an inspiration and you're a great story for every young person out there that wants to emulate, you know, a career it could be in anything. But like you said, you know, turn up every day, be consistent, and keep working hard. And don't get disheartened if things don't work out your way. Just keep turning back up and just keep grinding away. And one day you'll get what you deserve. So I just want to
100%.
thank you. Obviously, you're on Instagram, Sam Goodman on Instagram. Have you got a website? Where else can people find you?
Yeah, Sam Goodman on Instagram, Sam Goodman on Facebook, and Sam Goodman on TikTok as well. So just started that up. So bosses set me up. So
That's good.
yeah, into all that now. So yeah, that's where you can find me.
No, awesome, man. Thanks for coming today. Congratulations on your win on Friday and hoping for a massive 2024.
Thanks, brother. Thanks for having
Thanks
me
a
on.
lot, brother.
Cheers.
Thank you.
Legend.